Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, Gayton McKenzie, says that his department remains steadfast in their mission to create a South Africa where sport, arts and culture, as well as heritage, are not only celebrated but also serve as vehicles for social cohesion and economic development. McKenzie was sworn in as a minister in July this year, and he made numerous commitments, including a pledge to donate 100% of his parliamentary salary to the Jocelyn Smith Foundation for missing children, and also fighting for equal pay for women and men in all sporting codes. So to talk to us about the first term in office and the first 100 plus days in office in the Government of National Unity, we are joined virtually now by Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Gayton McKenzie. Minister McKenzie, good to have you with us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you, Sakina. It's always a pleasure being on your show.
So it's been a bit of a whirlwind, but how would you assess your first 100 plus days in office?
Out of 10, I'll give myself 12. You know, I've achieved so many things in those 100 days, and all because I'm surrounded by a very good team in the department.
So let's break that down. Giving yourself a 12 out of 10, what would you say you have achieved thus far?
Let's start with the first thing, is that when I just became the minister, I was told that the National School of the Arts is closing down. They can't afford teacher salary. They can't afford to pay the electricity. It's just Armageddon. It doesn't even fall directly under me. I didn't even say that. I just went straight and I sorted out the problem. Make sure we put them on the right track. Now the school is operating. 500 kids can still go to school. I then was told that there's no money to send the youth champions to Peru. I immediately jumped into action, called sponsors, got that. Walaza got 2 gold medals at the same championship in Peru. I have been told that a week before that the basketball under 18 African basketball championship had to be cancelled because nothing has really been organized by the South Africans. I jumped in with my whole team. Voila. We had one of the best under 18 FIBA basketball championships. So I'm saying to you that I've achieved a lot in the thing together with the team that we are leading.
And of course, people have lauded you for that, and others, of course, expressing concern that wherever Minister McKenzie goes, he's making promises and commitments, and will he be able to keep to those? Just last week, you promised to campaign for equal pay for men and women across all sporting codes. So what is the plan there? How are you hoping to achieve that?
Let me first start with the first part of your question about the promises. That's what politicians must do. You must tell people what you're going to do for them. So, I mean, you can't just do for people and not tell them, this is what I plan to do for you. Some plans I have people say, now, that's not important. And then what I do, I then leave those plans. So, of course, I have to tell people what I'm going to do for them. You know, the thing where men and women in America, for instance, they are getting a right to pay men and women equal. You know, we should leave this thing where we always think that men's sport is the one that you pay people according to the income at the gates. There's sponsorship, there's all those things. They have nothing to do with gate takings. I think we must try to pay men and women equal. Cricket has done a lot more than any other sport in the department so far. They are not where they should be, but they are strong on their way there.
So you say, you know, as a politician, you should be telling people about your plans rather than empty promises. So if we talk, say, football, there's Banyana, who are in action tonight. What is the plan to actually bring a salary parity for men and women in football?
You know, let's take something that, you see, football is not totally in my hands, simply because governments should never be seen to be totally interfering in the administration and the running of football. What you can do is, you know, we give SAFA money. We met with SAFA, for instance. We said, listen, we need you to qualify for the African Nations Cup. We need you to qualify for the World Cup. We need you to host the AFCON Women's Nations Cup. And if they don't do that, we will stop giving them money. So in that department, what we are doing is we are motivating them to say, you will lose the grant that we give you if you don't perform that. But let's take something that's in my hands, like the F1. I made a promise that we are going to bring the F1 to South Africa. What have I done since I made that promise? I have met with the CEO of F1, Mr. Stefano. I have met with the president of the FIA, which is the world governing body when it comes to motorsport. I've had meetings. I've got endorsements from the likes of, continued endorsements from the likes of Lewis Hamilton. We're getting an endorsement very soon from Verstappen. So we're having meetings. We are moving the needle. The same goes for UFC that has never been to South Africa. We met with Dana White, the owner of UFC. We met with the management of UFC. They then came back and they said they are coming definitely to Africa. And some journalists asked South or North Africa. We said South Africa first. Now, for me, those are all efforts that I have brought since I came in, and I'm not going to stop. I want South Africa to be on all the world calendars of events. On the 20th of November, we're making a massive announcement, which I can't share now. But South Africans must know they've entrusted me in the sport and arts and culture department, and I want us to be the best in the world. You know, you can't just be like an obscure country not being part of the world calendar. So if I make a promise, I keep it. And the issue of the VAR that everybody's asking me about every day, you know, they said VAR is expensive, but in my new budget, the new financial year, we're making provision to pay for VAR. So people should just give us until March, April, and then we will then give the money for the VAR because we need it in our sport.
So that suggests that you've crunched the numbers on that. What will it cost to bring VAR to the PSL, and how much are you budgeting as a department for that, Minister?
VAR will cost us 70 million rands to bring to the PSL. It will cost us 70 million rands, and it will cost us like 45,000 rands per game. So it's one of 70 million and 45,000 rands per game. We are hoping to budget 50% of that and get the remainder from sponsorship. It's important that you have VAR. You know, you must move with the game. You know, in the future, and not now, but in the future, AI will overtake VAR. It will be part of VAR in saying that they will decide, and not humans, if there was a fall or if there's a penalty, all those things. And I mean, if we are not even at VAR stage, where the world is going to move on. So I'm saying that we've budgeted half of that money, 35 million rand for VAR. The rest will get from sponsorship. So by April, May next year, we definitely must have VAR.
So why does the Department of Sport, Art and Culture have to do that? You've got the PSL. One would imagine that they are adequately funded. You know, you've got SAFA who are there. You've got continental bodies as well as global bodies that are involved in football. Why would it then fall on your department to make sure that there's VAR in the PSL?
What I've picked up, and this is that there's some sort of reluctance from some of these officials to install VAR in South Africa for various reasons. But my thing is that we at the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, we're here for the people. We have to listen to the voice of the people. Currently, the voice of the people is telling us, please intervene, we need VAR, we've been asking for it, it's not coming. Now, when you go to the officials and they say, SAFA says we just don't have the money to do that. And SAFA has done a lot of research in that. And then you come and you say, all right, we will meet you halfway. Meet us halfway, because we ultimately serve the people. And the demands of the people we cannot ignore. So VAR is coming. It's not a departmental invention. It is FIFA. FIFA wants VAR, wants their members to have VAR, and I'm going to be in good books of FIFA if it's not going to be seen as interference if I bring VAR.
So, and I'm asking this because, you know, also in terms of some of the promises, the commitments that you've made since you've taken over this ministry, they seem to come like that. You take the F1 issue, for example. So as you say, and I listened to you carefully, you spoke about the continued endorsement by someone like Lewis Hamilton, which of course speaks to the fact that this is not the first time that a minister in your portfolio has tried to bring F1 to South Africa. But there again, if you look at the cost. What will it cost South Africa to put on a Formula One event vis-a-vis who stands to benefit from that, who will be involved in that? And if you weigh that up against the broader needs of South Africans, more broadly speaking. We just listened to a viewer who said they want to see fields for children to play sport in the Northern Cape, for example. So, again, are these vanity projects? As you say, you listen to what the people are saying, but which people? Which South Africans would be able to afford to actually even go to watch Formula One if it is brought to South Africa?
All right. You see, you mustn't just look at how much it costs. You must also think at how much it brings. People always look at how much something costs. Number one, nobody said that government must pay for F1. That's the first thing. In Rwanda, for instance, they are building a track from scratch, which is government. In South Africa, we have Kalami, which is 80% there, and I'm told that the big announcement is being made tomorrow regarding Kalami. Now, already a track would cost you something like close to R1 billion, if not more. And we're not building it as government. And secondly, let's look at a country like Hungary. Hungary had 350,000 people at the F1. 250,000 people came from outside. The normal F1, the average F1 supporter or visitor doesn't stay in a 2-star hotel. They stay 4-star, 5-star. They come here for more than 5 days to the country. I mean, that's jobs, that's tourism. Our country is being showcased. Now, everybody just talk about the price, but what is this? To have 250,000 visitors to your country, to have 70 million people around, 700 million people around the globe watching your country. That's an advert, that's an advert that is really something our country needs. To have the people that will get jobs, the people that will come to this country, the people that will return after the thing, and we're going to get sponsors. South Africa is rich in countries, in companies that CEOs that there's a love for sport.
A love for certain sports, I'll say to you, Minister, because going back to the issue we spoke about pay parity and the sponsorship in that regard, you're not seeing the same level of sponsorship across the board. You will have women's sport that are lagging behind, have been lagging behind, are still suffering, whereas everybody is jumping to support and sponsor the Springboks, to support the cricket team. So those sort of things would suggest that government needs to interfere in a meaningful way that says there must be rules in terms of what sponsors can, how much they sponsor, where, on what, so that you can spread that pie more evenly. And that's what we're not hearing. To say that people sponsor, yes, they sponsor what they want. And this is why the picture remains very uneven, Minister. Do you have any sort of plans to intervene in that way when it comes to the sponsorships?
I think we must be totally transparent and honest when it comes to that. No sponsor around the world will sponsor a losing team. People want ROI. People want the return on investment. No sponsor sponsors in South Africa, corporate sponsors has been really, really done hard by, because some of these federations they get money, they don't account for the monies that they got. They will send 20 people overseas, officials and 18 players. These are things that has happened in the past. You will have people buying cars with the monies that was being used for athlete sponsorship, for instance. And I'm saying that, yes, we still have a very long way to go. I've made this one of the big commitments I've made. You look at Banyana, we already have soccer women millionaires in Banyana. And I was pleasantly shocked and surprised when I was informed about that. And we're not there yet where we should be, but we are not where we used to be. So it's a way. That's why when they qualified for the Cricket World Cup, I made sure that I don't watch from my house. I go to the stadium and I sit there, I send them messages. All the teams, I send Banyana messages. They going to go to the UK and play in Coventry City. I send the cricket, spoke to women's cricket team. All I'm saying is that the fact that it was a subject that's taboo prior to me coming in, now I'm bold in saying that we must treat women in sport better. And I'm not saying the sponsors and the corporates are all 100%. No, we still have issues there that we need to sort out.
Okay.
And I can tell you,
all right,
we're getting there.
There's so many things that I want to touch on. So your views on reports that SA Rugby intends to sell allegedly a 20% stake of the Springboks commercial rights to a private equity company, Ackley Sports Group. Your thoughts on that particular deal?
Well, I've met the Ackley's a few months ago. I have looked at the deal, and I told them first, just looking at the structure of this deal before I go, I wouldn't agree with the deal in its current format. How could you, there's no South Africans in this deal. I said to Saru, this is wrong. They then said, let's give them 30 days. After 30 days, they came back. They assured me we now have South Africans in the deal. Now, there's a whole lot of noise currently regarding the deal. I then got letters from the federations, the unions, asking me to intervene. Can I please speak to Saru? I then wrote Saru a letter to postpone the vote for a yes or no of this deal. I asked them nicely. They responded in kind and said, we will do so, Minister. We will give you what you're asking us for. We have until, I think, the 6th of December, and then we're putting it again to a vote. But what I'm saying in the meantime, you can't say a deal is bad if you have nothing to compare it to. All these billionaires and all these companies that's complaining about the deal, put another deal there. Put another deal better than the Ackley deal. We will be mad to accept the Ackley deal if there is another deal. But you can't say
if you just look at the Ackley deal, Minister McKenzie, if you look at what happened with NZR and with the All Blacks, a few years ago, they sold a 6% stake, and they were paid around $130 million. And now you compare the South African deal, where we're talking about a 20% stake, and how much are they trying to pay us for that?
No, but here's the issue, 1.2 billion. But here's the issue. Let's go back to what you're saying with the NZ deal. That money is just not coming from New Zealand, and people don't talk about that. New Zealand is waiting for the money. It's not flowing the way that they expected it to flow.
Yes, but that's a separate deal, that's a separate issue, Minister. The fact of the matter is the money that is being paid for a stake, and comparing the size of the stake in that deal and this deal, and the fact that we are getting paid less than New Zealand was paid for a 6% stake, surely that already raises questions.
It did raise questions, hence I wrote the letter. I'm not agreeing with the deal. I'm just saying that you have to compare to something locally. If you look at the Springbok brand, we love the Springboks. But let's be honest, the New Zealand brand is bigger in the world than the Springbok brand. Hence, the Springboks want to do this deal because we are big in South Africa, but we don't have world appeal as the Springboks.
We don't have world appeal? No, the Springbok doesn't have world appeal?
Compared to the All Blacks, we don't. Let's just be honest about it. I love the Springboks, but compared to the, if you ask anybody, everybody knows the haka, everybody knows that, and that's what we are trying to achieve with the Springboks. You cannot sit here and tell me that the Springboks, we play better than the All Blacks, but in world brand commercial appeal, the All Blacks are bigger than the Springboks currently, and we hope to change that. But here's the issue. I am agreeing with you that I think the SARU could get more. I think that the deal needs to be relooked. But I'm also saying, everybody that's complaining, put another deal on the table. If there's only one buyer at the auction, the price of that buyer will go. So my plea is for every billionaire in this country has complained about this deal. So I'm saying SARU is near bankrupt, like all the other federations or rugby unions around the world. Most of them, 90% of them, are facing financial distress. I'm saying, put a better deal on the table. I have managed to postpone this arrangement. So I'm challenging all the companies, all the business people that complain. I feel you. But put a deal on the table so that we can compare to something.
All right. I just want to move quickly to the arts as well in terms of what's been happening. You spoke about intervention at the School of Arts, but artists, of course, themselves also going through the most, struggling to keep head above water. And in that regard, talk to us about your interventions there and what is top of mind for you.
I think the first thing is that, artists in this country, it's an injustice and it's a huge indictment that artists are not being seen as workers. That's the first thing I hope to change together with my counterparts in cabinet, that you cannot have artists not being recognized as workers. And the second thing is with the Copyright Amendment Bill. We told the president just to wait a bit before he signs, because you cannot have things like fair use. How do you have fair use of somebody's work? We need to get those clauses out. I think those clauses were sneaked in there by the people that have been exploiting artists to say fair use for the work of the artist. Because once you say fair use, you say if you go and buy a burger and you must pay the fair amount. No, you must set your price as an artist. And then what we want to do, the uncomfortable truth about South Africa and it's our nightlife and our entertainment life has really died. And then it's in a coma, it's in ICU. And we need to rescue that. We need to make sure we bring back the good times in South Africa. We need to bring back concerts. Our people are hungry for concerts, hence they have got Chris Brown selling out 2 stadiums, two nights in one stadium and 90,000 seater.
But what about our theatres, Minister? Because they are struggling.
I'm coming to that one.
They're struggling.
I'm coming to that one. I went to go sign the UAE is really leading when it comes to the arts currently. They've taken a bold decision. They've built buildings for the arts, new museums. They've got the Museum of the Future in Dubai. They've really invested. And we went to go look at what are they doing and how are they doing it. And I came back from there realizing that all our museums are outdated. Our museums are still steeped in 1964. That's why it doesn't attract young people. We are now in the process of changing the boards, bringing new boards that will come in with fresh ideas to make sure that our museums become sexy for young people to visit, basically. At the moment they see it as boring. It's not something, but when you go to things like the Museum of the Future, where they mix the art with technology, and that's the direction that museums are taking around the world.
Okay.
They need to be more creative. So yeah, we are serious about the museums.
We are fast running out of time, Minister. I need to put 2 questions to you. Firstly, the spinning that you announced a few weeks ago. So this particular issue, the question has been, spinning has been there, but in terms of the board that has been appointed and also spinning as a sport, is that a formal structure, and how much has been paid to them as of yet?
Well, firstly, when you do development of something, everybody's interim. So the boards that have been put there is interim boards, because you have to start somewhere. It's interim boards. There's people with expertise. We've got lawyers there. We've got the chartered accountants there. We've got people that know the sport of spinning. So that's a temporary board that has been put there. We haven't given them 1 cent. We intend to give them 5 million development funding, so that the sport mustn't become an elite sport. Only the people that can afford cars.
Got you there. I've got 10 seconds, Minister. The Jocelyn Smith Foundation, have you paid over your salary to it? Has it been registered?
Now, what I've done is that every month I pay my salary to a charity while they are busy with it. I didn't think it will take so long to register it. I thought you just walk in, you raise the foundation. It doesn't work like that. But any journalist is welcome to come to me personally. I'll show them exactly which charities I have supported.
All right.
With my salary.
Perfect. We'll leave it there. Obviously, we need so much more time with you, Minister Gayton McKenzie. So much to talk about, so little time, but we'll leave it there. Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Gayton McKenzie, our guest this morning.